He's been called Bobs, he's been nicknamed Bofors, he's one half of the beautifully named Indo-Pak Express. He's dabbled with hockey, the family owns coffee plantations in Coorg and became a sporting diplomat of sorts mid-career. He was rejected when he first went for trials to get enrolled at an academy, didn't give up, started as a singles player, pivoted to doubles and almost quit in 2019 due to worn out knees. The man has many names and has done many things, faced countless challenges. But bitter is the patience, sweet is its fruit. Welcome to Express Sports Podcast. This is Mihir and Amit. Today we are going to talk about a man who, for you and me, holds many life lessons. Rohan Bopanna, a Grand Slam winner, doubles winner at 43, the oldest male player to become world number 41. Well, it's been a couple of weeks since Australian Open got over, but how could we not talk about him?
Me, the one good thing about Rohan is that, now that we are in our mid-30s, I will not say exactly how much, but now that we are in our mid-30s, we are starting to see that all the athletes that we talk about, all the athletes that we write about, they're all slightly younger than us. So, that demographic is shifting. So, Rohan Bopanna, in a sense, is still having to write about and talk about Rohan is slightly reassuring for us. We are not that over the hill yet.
I just liked how you slipped in mid-30s. Factually not incorrect, but way off the mark too, I guess.
Speak for yourself, man. I'm not even mid-30 technically.
Chalo, we'll get off our age because, to be honest, to quote Bopanna, we are not like at mid-30s. We are at level mid-30s, not the age. And like he said, he is not age 43, but level 43. And अमित यार जो भी कहें हम मेंस डबल्स के बारे में इन टेनिस डबल्स के बारे में इन जनरल it's considered largely a pastime and no serious player worth his salt kind of at least on the regular too plays it, but I'm sure it takes a lot to win a title at 43 कोई भी हो जाए.
Mihir, I was just looking through the trajectory of his career. He's a guy who's played in his first Grand Slam in the year 2006. That is almost 18 years back, almost 2 decades now. Maybe, I don't know how many generations we count that. His first title ever came in 2008. Then he got into that partnership that you spoke about, the Indo-Pak Express with Aisamullah Qureshi. And it's almost like an outlier, his career, because the tried and tested understanding, the old age adage is that, the younger you are, the better you are. The more primed you are for success in high performance sport. And then here along comes a man who's winning his first ever men's doubles Grand Slam title. He's won mixed doubles titles before in Grand Slams, but men's doubles mein pehli bar he's winning it at the age of 43.
Mixed doubles also was 10 years into his career, 2017, right?
Yeah. That's what a lot of his success has essentially come after the age of, let's say, 35. So incredible career, and it's still not over. He's not called time on it yet. So 2023, he had I think one of his best seasons to date. And the funniest thing about 2023, I believe, was that he made it to the final at the US Open a full 13 years after he had first reached the final at the US Open. So it's probably that once very weird age if you are trying to get a analogy or a parallel to this, you have LeBron James playing in the NBA, who's now playing the kids of players that he had played back when he was making his debut in the NBA. So that's one hell of a longevity.
It is. And the fact that a lot of his success has come after 35 also holds out hope to many people who have mid-career crisis. So that's also a big lesson there. And I think what over the years Bopanna has shown is the courage to kind of change and evolve and stay relevant, because starting some look dekhe to he started off as a singles player, as you all know. His entry into tennis also I found very fascinating because of course growing up in Coorg, it's one of India's biggest hockey belts, and so naturally hockey became one of the first sports he picked in school, and he was kind of pushed in the direction of tennis only because his father also used to play hockey for the Madras Christian College, and he had suffered a broken arm. And wo ek jo scar tha of a broken arm while playing hockey, that remained fresh all through his father's life. And when it finally came to a time where Rohan had to kind of pick a sport, his father said ki yaar team sport mat khelo, hockey mat khelo, and you should focus on something that's more individualistic. And that's how tennis happened for him. And for him to then start off as a singles player, being humble enough to realize that it might not win him or get him as much success as, say, doubles, because, I mean, again, this was a time, mid 2000s, was a time when Leander Paes and Mahesh Bhupathi were enjoying incredible success on the double circuits all over the world. So it was like a big enough enticement for any young Indian player to kind of shift to doubles, which Rohan did. And then the second stage, right, where he is a big serving, a solid forehand player, which isn't how most of the modern tennis players are. I mean, it's like become all about athleticism, about baseline rallies, which isn't suited to Bopanna's game, especially now that his knees are gone. And he's still found a way to kind of find an answer to that, which I feel is incredible, Amit.
Yeah, and I think, Mihir, one of the things that not a lot of people maybe know about, maybe now they do know about it, now that he has kind of become the oldest ever world number one in men's doubles, and he has won the Australian Open. But one of the most remarkable bits about his success story is that not too far away, in 2019, Rohan was basically on the verge of retiring, because like playing a sport like tennis, even if you're playing doubles, I know a lot of people tend to look down upon doubles and say that, it's two people sharing the same size of a court, that it's slightly easier on the body and things like that. But ask Rohan Bopanna, I mean, he was on the verge of retiring in 2019 because of multiple injuries, basically not having any cartilage in the knees. He has admitted to this, and he's saying that he used to take painkillers almost every day just to get over that stabs of pain that he would feel day in, day out. Like he would basically have 2 and 3 painkillers a day. It had gotten that kind of a thing. Like he had tried platelet-rich plasma injections, hyaluronic injections, all sorts of things that you can imagine. He's tried all of that. And then I think, Mihir, you want to talk about that? How his life turned around in the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, many lives turned around in the pandemic, Amit. But his, I think, was one of the few ones which kind of turned around for good, because he...
wow, man. You had to slip in a morbid joke into that, huh?
I mean, not missing a chance there. Never to miss a chance. But look, I mean, yoga, I'm going to do a big plug over here, because, with knees and yoga, I've seen the transformation in my dad as well, He's had a long-standing knee problem, which we've tried treatment. Many of the things never really worked, but a few months of yoga and we're already seeing effects of it. So, and this is like, I'm talking about someone who's around 70. I'm sorry for revealing your age, Dad, but well, thoda sa abhi kya kare. But yeah, I mean, so we're talking about someone who is now a professional player whose knees are totally gone, and he discovers Iyengar yoga. And basically it's emphasis on the whole alignment of the body, the movement of your limbs. It just kind of works in a way that Rohan did not imagine it would. Like 4 months of Iyengar yoga, and he was asked to do a very specific type of thing, like very specific movements. It's tough to kind of elaborate on it right now, but it strengthened his body, his legs. For all of us who have done yoga at some point in our lives, we've experienced firsthand how it kind of calms you down, it kind of relaxes your mind. So it affects and it helps you in multiple ways. And I think if Bopanna was to sell that whole soft power of India kind of a story, I think he's done that simultaneously, because the way he's spoken about the effect Iyengar yoga has had on his health, on his tennis career, I guess wo thoda sa ek evangelist kind of a person ban jayega on tour, because that's where a lot of people are looking for such therapies, a lot of broken bodies around in the tennis world, Amit.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mir, I think we always talk in singles, we've always spoken about, all these tall tennis players and how much their serve was basically a weapon in their arsenal. With Rohan also, I think because of his powerful serves, that also kind of helped him, conserve energy also a little bit. That also kind of helps him, prolong his career because of your powerful serve. If you're picking up points faster, that means you don't have to run sideways, side by side, that much more on points. So those kind of factors are always things that have weighed in, that have helped him prolong his career. But obviously then finding something as Iyengar yoga, and then that took him to the next level, clearly. Another factor, Mihir, is that he's now stuck with Matthew Ebden for all of 2023 and now into 2024. that also kind of helps, because one of the factors that we know for a fact, I think Leander was particularly notorious for this. He would run through, doubles partners like people would run through clothes during a gym session. So, I mean, I'm not being uncharitable to Leander, but I mean, that's how it works. Because if you're going to a tournament, your partner does not want to travel there.
More than 50 or...
Yeah, I'm not being sneering at Leander, but I'm just saying that, that is the way doubles works. Like, you have to change partners if you and your partner's goals are not aligning in tournaments and things like that. So with Rohan, one of the other things is clearly having Matthew Ebden on his side on the court.
And I think that's the continuity factor is important, because if you look back at Rohan's career, a lot of his titles have come in like blocks, and those blocks kind of represent the continuity factor. So he won 5 titles, I think, between 2010 and 2015. And during that period, I mean, the 4 of them came in just 2 years, 2010 and 2011. And throughout that period, he was partnering Aisamullah Qureshi. So that's like one example there. He won a couple of titles again in 2012. Stuck with Mahesh Bhupathi throughout that year. Then there were a couple of titles, 4 titles he won in 2015 where he partnered the same player over there. So it kind of speaks a lot. You spoke about, how in the last couple of years he's been starting to do well. Again, in 2022, the 2 titles he won came with same partner, Ramkumar Ramanathan. So it kind of speaks a lot. But I think the most special of those partnerships, Amit, was undoubtedly in Aisamullah Qureshi. A lot of things have been written about it. So it's how much of what new will we say about it is well, I don't know. But one thing which I've always wondered while looking at Rohan's career is just the generation he fortunately, unfortunately kind of found himself in. Now, again, talent is one thing and luck / other elements are the other. But the fact that his prime came during the whole battle, the whole saga between Leander Paes and Mahesh Bhupathi, which kind of affected Indian tennis beyond anyone could have imagined. I sometimes wonder if things would have been different if, the Lehesh saga wasn't there in Indian tennis, and if Rohan would have benefited more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is one of the things that is usually, I mean, all great careers do end up casting a shadow on somebody else's career or the other, right? And it's one of those what ifs, what if maybe Leander was somebody who didn't have that arrhythmia in his heart and had actually stuck to football, which was his first love, rather than coming to tennis. What would have happened then? What if, Leander and Mahesh had never partnered and Mahesh was on the lookout and had found Rohan quite early in his career? Maybe they had become a good doubles partnership. All of those things. And obviously, Mihir, one of the underlying things in Indian tennis while Mahesh and Leander were playing was this whole thing that, you had to pick a side. You had to go either this way or that way. It's something that has cast a shadow on the Indian tennis contingent's performances at successive Olympics. We all know how those things played out at, the Rio Olympics, even London Olympics for that matter, I guess. Like, we knew that these guys, if they played to their potential, can be good enough to go win a medal. But I believe all they did was come close and finish 4th, especially at, was that at Rio or was that at Tokyo?
4th at Tokyo.
Yeah, Tokyo. So that is the tragedy of Indian tennis, if I can say that. 2 protagonists like really getting along at the start of their careers and not really getting along at the fag end of their careers, which could have also been big chunk of their prime.
Sorry, but one thing which I wanted to add there, of course, this is a point which remains in Bopanna's career. But then there are 2 things. Leander and Mahesh, they played in an era where I think men's doubles was at its competitive best. You had so many good players, including the Bryan brothers. Then earlier there were the Woodies from Australia. So they had to play really good quality players, which isn't the case right now. Not to take anything away from Bopanna's title over here, but it's the fact. And also, over the years, we've seen that Bopanna's ability to close out crucial points has been kind of questioned, be it important Davis Cup matches or important Grand Slam points. When the situation demanded that he delivered, some or the other reason he kind of fell short. And now it's a crazy coincidence because he's married. His wife is a psychologist, and I was listening to a podcast recently. I think it was with Cyrus Brocha, and where he's saying that he also gets counseling from his wife. I don't know if he was joking or he was serious. I mean, there's no reason to believe that he was getting around with that. But it's also a good coincidence that, when he wins his first men's doubles Grand Slam title, when he finally kind of crosses that mental barrier, his wife was in his corner and she would have played an important role, I believe, to kind of get that sports psychology bit sorted. So that's also interesting. But Amit, the fact that he actually got that doubles title, his first title at the Grand Slam, the mixed double title came in 2017. He's had to wait for a very long time. I think if whatever Bopanna का career थोड़ा सा उल्टा है, where success is kind of काफी ऐसा peppered around a lot of struggles. So after Gabriela Dabrowski in mixed doubles French Open, it's Australian Open with Matthew Ebden, and the French Open venue, if at all he believes in luck, could perhaps shower more luck this year, you believe, since the Paris Olympics tennis events will be held at Roland Garros?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? But the other thing is that he needs to find a partner, in India. That is the big question. Who partners him? Obviously, we've seen what happened at the Asian Games last time around. So there is that chance. Obviously, there is going to be a big question mark whether they can do it. And now, whatever we've seen at the Australian Open and all the other, the oldest records that he has set over the last couple of years. So I don't think it's beyond him. But again, whatever he has to do, that is not going to be a one-person job. He needs to find somebody else in the side to, also be equally up to it. And considering Bopanna may not be doing a lot of running around, that other person has to pick up the slack in terms of the, running around on the court.
Yeah. So basically a quick run through of how doubles teams will be kind of eligible for the Paris Olympics. So basically they'll have 32 doubles teams and there'll be maximum of 2 from a country. And then you'll have the top 10 players in the ATP rankings who will automatically qualify, but their partners, they need to be inside the top 300. So while for Bopanna it should not be a challenge, uska to matlab rasta set hai. He needs to ensure that there are other Indians like Amit said, who should be inside the 300. For men's doubles, it shouldn't be a problem because then you have the likes of, Yuki Bambri, who's actively playing on the circuit now, and a couple of good weeks here and there, and comfortably they'll be placed to make the cut. But the challenge would be the mixed doubles, where I don't think there is an Indian women tennis player in doubles who makes that grade right now. And I think Rohan has spoken about it, if I'm not wrong. I remember reading somewhere that he believes that mixed doubles would be a challenge too far. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to kind of see how that shapes out. But in men's doubles, at least there'll be an entry. How far they go, we'll have to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's something that we'll see. I mean, of course, before the Paris Olympics, there's the big W, the Wimbledon, which is again something that I'm sure Bopanna would like to add to his growing trophy cabinet. And after that, of course, there'll be the French Open. And that I think will be very interesting because French Open takes place in a couple of weeks later. All the players will be returning to Roland Garros. So perhaps, a defining year for Bopanna in terms of his legacy. He's already kind of retired from Davis Cup. He'll no longer be playing Davis Cup. So this is his one last chance perhaps at glory for the country and for himself at Grand Slams. So it's come late for him, but it's come finally at 43, level 43 as he says. And like we discussed earlier in the episode, it kind of fills a lot of people who are on the wrong side of 40 with hope.
Also on the wrong side of 30, Mihir.
Wrong side of 30. Well, I mean, I conveniently tried to sidestep it, but ठीक है यार, अभी तुमने सामने ला ही दिया तो wrong side of mid-30s, as Amit Kamath said. And on that note, I guess, that's it for this week. Thanks for listening. We will be back next week with a new episode of Game Time.
You were listening to Express Sports by the Indian Express. This week's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it. Share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.